Picture this. It's a regular Tuesday morning. Sunshine hitting the Capitol dome. Coffee brewing in offices all over D.C. But in Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett's office, the phone rings with a call that will change everything. Her chief of staff, Ava, answers the office line. Not even her cell. Ava's face goes from business as usual to confused, then tense. She puts the call on hold. "Jazz," she says, covering the receiver. "It's the D.C. Metro Police. They're asking for you specifically." Jasmine, sharp and steady even before her second cup, takes the phone. This is Representative Crockett. The voice on the other end is a police sergeant. He states his name, then drops the bomb. "We received a report last night regarding a harassment complaint filed against you." Jasmine blinks. "Excuse me? A harassment complaint?" "Yes, ma'am," the sergeant confirms. "The complainant is a Mr. Barron Trump. He alleges your televised remarks target his mother and pose security concern." Pause. Just silence. Jasmine stares at the wall. "You're telling me," she says, her voice flat with disbelief, "an 18-year-old filed a police report over a televised interview?" "That's correct, ma'am," the sergeant replies, maybe a hint of awkwardness in his tone. Jasmine lets out a short, dry laugh. It's not amusement. It's pure, unadulterated absurdity. "All right, Sergeant, you have my statement now. Anything else?" She hangs up. Ava is just staring, wide-eyed. "What the hell was that?" "Barron Trump," Jasmine says, rubbing her temple, "filed a police report because I said his mom throws fancy parties. It sounds unreal. It is real, and in the hyper-connected world of Washington, it takes less than an hour for that piece of information to leak. A local blog breaks it first. Breaking: Barron Trump accuses Jasmine Crockett of harassment. Law enforcement sources cited. Meaning someone probably screenshot a report log and sent to their cousin in the media. By noon, it's everywhere. The conservative news cycle explodes. Pundits are red-faced, shouting about attacking the First Lady, and somehow getting her son involved in a police call, completely omitting that he made the call. They twist the narrative, painting Jasmine as an extremist, an aggressor. But Jasmine Crockett doesn't flinch. She walks out onto Capitol Hill, faces a crowd of reporters, and speaks with absolute calm. "I have not once reached out to the Trump family in any personal capacity. My comments were directed at a pattern of questionable spending that affects American taxpayers. That is part of my job." A reporter shouts, "Are you accusing them of retaliating?" "I'm stating a fact," she says, steady as a rock. When a sitting member of Congress makes a public observation based on publicly funded activities, that's not harassment. That's oversight. "Will you be apologizing?" Another calls out. Jasmine looks straight ahead. No. Behind her, Ava is already crafting a press release, sharp and factual, designed to hit before the 2 p.m. news dump can spin it further. But something unexpected is happening. The public isn't buying the outrage. People saw the original interview clip, Jasmine, calm, laying out facts about spending, asking why taxpayers are footing bills for designer caviar and imported orchids while school programs face cuts. They heard her say, "We have a right to ask questions." And then they heard an 18-year-old call the police on a congresswoman for saying that. The internet doesn't debate intent. It fact-checks. Screenshots of budget lines appear. Threads explain how money flows. Videos surface. A grainy clip of reception at Mar-a-Lago with an ice sculpture lining up with a flagged expense report. TikTok stitched Jasmine's quote with headlines about school lunch debt. The simple, devastating refrain echoes everywhere. But they called the cops on her. Support surges, not just from political allies, but from everyday people. Teachers, veterans, young women. People who never followed politics are suddenly paying attention. They don't care about beltway debates. They care about basic fairness. They see a powerful family using law enforcement to silence a critic asking valid questions about public money. That night, instead of retreating, Jasmine films a short video from her apartment. No fuss, just her. "To every person watching," she says, her voice low but clear, "if asking questions about government spending is now a crime, then we've lost the thread of democracy." She lets the silence hang. She posts it and goes to bed. By morning, it has millions of views. The hashtag Stand With Crockett starts small, then explodes. Celebrities, activists, even groups like Black veterans posting old service records, captioning them, "We fought for this country." She's fighting for its truth. The White House stays silent. Behind the scenes, they're scrambling. Someone has to explain to the First Lady why her son did this. The both sides narrative the media tried to push isn't working. People see it plainly. She called out the grift. They called the cops. But the powerful don't give up easily. When they realize Jasmine won't apologize, they decide to tear her down. Leaks begin. An internal memo from the First Lady's office hits a blog, implying Jasmine has a personal vendetta, hinting strongly at race as the underlying motive with coded language like aggressively targeting traditional institutions and lacking decorum. Jasmine doesn't yell. She doesn't curse. She just says, "So they're going low?" And she knows exactly what that means. The smear campaign ramps up. Old, vague accusation from law school surface. A clip of her at a protest years ago is twisted. Donors withdraw support. Radio hosts rant. It's a coordinated effort to paint her as unstable, aggressive, divisive. But the public isn't fooled. They see the timing. They see the tactics. Videos pop up contrasting Jasmine's calm, fact-based approach with historical moments where Black women were penalized for speaking truth. A former social worker from Tulsa posted a raw video. She said what we've all been thinking. And now they're calling the cops on her for what? Doing her job while Black. The attack backfires. The more they try to discredit her, the stronger she appears. She doesn't engage in the mudslinging. She doubles down on policy, attends town halls, speaks quietly but firmly about housing or education, always linking it back to responsible spending. Inside the White House, the atmosphere is tense. The First Lady is reportedly furious, not at Jasmine, but at her own team, at her son's impulsive act. They made her look honest, principled, she says through gritted teeth. A senior staffer resigns. Others are reassigned. Damage control attempts only highlight the absurdity of the initial complaint. Then another blow lands. From Jasmine, her office releases the documented evidence they've been gathering. A detailed PDF hits the congressional website. Expense reports tied to the First Lady's office. Dry government documents. But damning, a $137,000 payment request for decorative floral ambience. $9,400 for custom spa treatments for non-staff guests. Buried in it, a memo from a junior staffer warning these charges could raise public concern. Jasmine underlines it in red, posts it. They knew. And then the hammer. The full call log from her office and personal phone for the days surrounding the interview. No calls, no texts, no emails to or from the Trump family or their team. Irrefutable proof. She didn't initiate contact, didn't harass. What came after, she states in a video press release, looking dead into the camera, was a coordinated attempt to smear and intimidate. And I won't play along. The media can't ignore the receipts. Experts come on air, calmly explaining the rules, highlighting how the spending defies justification. The conversation shifts from "is Crockett divisive?" to "what is this spending?" The pressure mounts. Quietly but officially, the House Oversight Committee announces a special review of non-essential expenditures tied to the office of the First Lady. That changes everything. They can't pretend it's just hurt feelings anymore. Jasmine watches the news scroll across her TV screen. Ava stands beside her. You push them. Ava says, now they have to respond. Jasmine nods. They can't keep pretending this is about hurt feelings. But the fight isn't over. Just as momentum builds, the machine strikes again. A tabloid headline, Congresswoman Crockett accused of aggressive behavior during law school years. Thinly sourced, vague, clearly timed. They're scraping the bottom, trying to make her look volatile, hoping she'll react emotionally. She doesn't. She holds the line, stays on policy, appears calm, composed. The smear attempts look desperate, sloppy. The public sees through it. Whistleblowers come forward, confirming budget reports were edited. The Crockett standard starts being used on Capitol Hill, meaning show the receipts. It's been weeks since that phone call. Jasmine travels to a public forum at Harris-Stowe State University in St. Louis. It's not a fancy D.C. event. It's packed with people who live with the consequences of government spending. She walks to the podium, simple, direct. When I first ran for office, she tells them, I didn't have big donors. What I had was a promise to speak the truth, even when it's inconvenient. She talks about the spending, the ignored needs, the panic when someone refuses to whisper. That wasn't about me, she says of the reaction. That was about a system so used to silence. It panics when someone refuses to whisper. She speaks about public trust, about working families, about the pattern of retaliation. There's a reason they try to discredit me instead of answering the question, she says, because they knew they couldn't offend what's been happening behind those closed doors. And then she delivers a line that will echo nationwide. If this is what happens when a black woman asks a question, imagine what happens when she demands answers. The room erupts, not with cheering, but with deep, resonant affirmation. That speech goes viral instantly. Jasmine has become more than a congresswoman. She's become a mirror, reflecting back to people what they felt but maybe haven't articulated. Weeks later, sitting in a quiet PBS studio, a journalist asks her if she regretted naming the First Lady. Jasmine pauses, then says, the only thing I regretted was underestimating how far some people will go to protect the illusion of respectability. She speaks about the impossible balance for black women in public life, being clear versus being called difficult, honest versus angry. What got her through it? The people, she says, looking straight into the camera, the ones who said, don't stop. This wasn't just about budgets or parties or a teenager's phone call. It was about whether honesty still means something, whether you can hold power accountable, no matter who they are. Later, visiting a school in Ohio, a young girl asks her, how did you not get scared when they tried to come after you? Jasmine smiles. Oh, I was scared, she says, but I was also tired of watching people back down just because someone powerful gave them a look. And sometimes when you're tired enough, you stop caring about what they might do and start caring about what might happen if you say nothing. The noise has died down, but the ripple effect continues. Investigations are underway. The Crockett Standard is a real thing in D.C. briefings. The truth, once it's out, is hard to put back. That night, home alone, Jasmine scrolls through her phone. An unread message from an unknown number. It reads simply, they thought you'd fold. Instead, you lit a path. She closes her phone, whispers to herself, we're not done because this story isn't over. It's a reminder that truth has a cost, but the cost of silence is far, far higher. And sometimes it takes one person refusing to whisper to wake everyone else up. If you believe in standing your ground, holding power accountable, and protecting voices that refuse to stay quiet, subscribe, share, and keep this conversation going. Because silence only serves those who hope we won't notice.